Okay, so we're going to keep going with these critiques and look at a few more resumes um, so that you guys can have enough information to create and revise your own. First thing we're looking at, of course, is the design. This is fairly balanced. It's not dense with text, so you could improve on that a bit. And if you look at the name is not the biggest part on the page. In fact, it's not even bolded compared to the titles or the headers. So it would be best to increase the name size and then go into the details of the resume. We're starting with skills. So we've got Word and Excel, lab experience. I don't really know what kind of lab that is. There's different kinds of labs, so you'd want to be specific there. Turbine diesel, analytical chemistry, 2 years of organic chemistry. So my first question here with this, you want to put the most important things at the top of the page. The employer is going to pay more attention to what is at the top of the page than it's at the bottom. And they also figure that you think, whatever you think is most important, you're going to put that first. So the employer is going to look at this and say, all right, so this person thinks that Word and Excel is the most important skill he has compared to like analytical chemistry or 2 years of organic chemistry. And I think those should be changed around a little bit, but really think about what you're putting first and what you want them to focus on. We've got experience next, and as I said before, you want to start with education. Education is going to be your most relevant element in your resume for your first job. So definitely you want to start with your education. We've got education at the bottom here, but we just have high school. Again, skip high school, just put college, and even if you haven't graduated yet, just put your expected graduation date on the side there. And remember that your education should be formatted just like the rest of this, so you're going to have this same sort of style. This looks like we're starting with the position, followed by the employer, followed by the place with the date on the side. So your education should have bachelor's of whatever your major is, followed by Fort Lewis College, with Durango, Colorado underneath. The date of graduation should be here. And then if you wanted to include this organic chemistry, this is actually, put it underneath your education section. Then we've got fast-paced, high volume, focused on bread, baking goods, independently managed production for bakery, daily baked goods. So you're kind of just throwing information out there, but your independent product, the employer's not going to necessarily know what to do with daily baked goods. Did you bake the goods? So you want to be specific. And again, bullet points are way better because it's just easier and faster to read into. And really think about what it is you're applying for. If you're applying for a job that isn't anything to do with restaurants, then you might want to focus in on like teamwork skills that you had. Focus in on the transferable skills here. And make sure you capitalize the S in summer. In this one, obviously it's the same. Oh, so no, the Pizza Huts are the same, but they were at different times. So go ahead and just say, like, if it's summer of 2013 and 2012, then you can just say that. Or say 2012 to 2013. But do put the months in there because that's a little more specific. 2013 could be like 1 week, 1 month, 1 day. It could be 8 months, right? So that doesn't tell the employer enough information on this. But you do have good balance here. And it's a good start to move forward from. Again, keep in mind you want those past tense action verbs. That's how all of your bullet points should start. All right, so this one we have good balance. There is a bit of white space here. A note on color. Color it depends on the job you're applying for. There's certain jobs, if you're going to go into like geology or engineering, you don't want any color on your resume. But other fields that are more creative are more flexible with that. Do make sure though that the color is going to show up in black and white. Chances are that the employer is not going to print your paper or your resume in color. So you want to make sure that it isn't going to disappear, right? This green should be okay. Blue would be okay. But something like yellow is just going to disappear when you print it in black and white. So let's look at, it won't go any smaller. The name is the biggest. The name is probably bigger than it needs to be, just because you're over 2 pages here. So I would cut down on the name. Let's go in detail now. So we're starting with a summary, basically. An English professor in Oklahoma. So this is really, again, because you are over 2 pages, I would suggest not worrying about this summary because you have a cover letter that is going to include some of this information, and that's where it belongs. Focus on the content for this, like being just straight to your experience and education. And again, your education should come first. And in this case, all of these are good. But you do want to go with the most current first. So you would put your Bachelor's of English, put that very first, and then follow with probably your Associates of Liberal Arts, and then your Creative Writing certificate. Whatever is the most current thing, you want that at the top. Just like you have, like you can see your experience, you have the most current experience at the top of this list. Yes. So let's look at consistency. Next thing, we have the date first. We have the position here, associate there, bachelor's there. This is a really good example of making sure that bachelor's is there. And then a little bit of a description. And again, bullet points are always better because they're just easier to read. And you don't want full sentences. These are short, but the employer's not going to read a full sentence. Anything that's going to take more time, they want to be able to glance and absorb it quickly. So again, bullet points with past tense action verbs. So provided quality customer service and support to guests, right? That would be one. Here I would actually suggest switching these. Writing tutor is more relevant than your conference assistant experience. And again, you want to put the most relevant things at the top, and what you think that the employer is going to care about the most, that should go first. And what else do we have here? Skills. This stuff, again, because of the length of your resume, you could definitely squish it together. Like this is a big white space right here. You don't need so much space here. And this could be because it's a template, I'm not sure. But that could be cut. And then think about these activities. What is the most important? The literary magazine is probably going to be super helpful. Honors, camp counselor, would that go under, you'd decide if that should go under a job experience, right? Like that might be something you want to elaborate on a little bit more. Outstanding student in creative writing maybe isn't as necessary. The publication stuff is good. This volunteer stuff, I would skip just for page length. Like this is a long list of activities. And it is helpful and good to have. They've got some good stuff there, but you want this to be 1 page. So you'll get a little more space with this summary being gone. But the bullet points will take up extra space. Check the font size. I'm not sure what it is right now, but if it's 12, you can reduce that down to 10. You do a good job with the titles and the differentiating of headings. And there's consistency with how it's all set up, so that's good. And then we have one more. So if we look at this one, from a distance, a little bit bigger than that, you can see that this is incredibly well balanced. I think that this resume does the best job of achieving that well balance that you're looking for. And even from here, you can glance at it. The name is the biggest. We know who it is. And then the headings are standing out. We know our eyes follow these darker bolded sections or these words. So we move through the page and we know how to scan and get what we want when we want it. So this is a really well-designed, resume. Again, with the objective. If you don't have a resume, it makes sense to have an objective. If you do have a resume, they know why you want to do this. I know that some of the content said that an objective is a good idea, but it's sort of outdated now. Education is first. That is great. Bachelor of Arts in Studio Art. That's perfect. The GPA on there it's high enough that that's worth having. I would suggest maybe moving, and you can see you've done it down here. So here you have press room with the location and the title right here. Here you have the location, the place. Across from here you have the date, but you've put the date on a lower level. So moving that date up so it aligns with Durango, Colorado would be beneficial. These bullets are good. Built, helped, trained, worked, often filled in. So those are good. Lasting relationships with influential locals and travelers as an outgoing greeter and seater. One question I would wonder is what did that allow you to achieve? If you included that, not that you need more text. This is a nice, dense resume that doesn't feel overcrowded, but also it is full, and it's taking full advantage of the space on the page. But if you could tell us, built lasting relationships with influential locals and travelers in order to bolster the organization's something or other, right? If you had your purpose there and what you achieved through those relationships, that would strengthen this. Worked alone as a team. It would be good to say a team of how many people. Numbers are always good, but this does do a good job. This is an example of a highlighted transferable skill that can be applied to most jobs. Additional skills, activities, and leadership. So this is a really strong resume. And this would be a good thing to consider as you all keep going with your resumes.